Hello, good evening and a very warm welcome to Rangers Radio. Hello, good evening and welcome to Rangers Radio. I'm Southside and joining me on the show this evening is AK and the legend that is the Bridgeman. How are you guys?
Evening Southside, evening Bridgeman, a techie team and everybody that's listening.
Oh, I'm absolutely brilliant, Southside, and a big good evening to yourself and of course AK there, going to carry me through it, and the techie team, a wonderful techie team that keeps the whole thing going. Can I just say to all the Rangers fans that are listening in all over the world, good evening, welcome to Rangers Radio.
Aye, good evening to those trips that are on YouTube, as always, following. Say good evening to them and everybody else. How about you, Bridge? Are you enjoying the weather?
Oh, superb. I've got a lovely terrace where I live on the house, you know. Her and I are sitting outside. It's just fabulous. It's just utterly fabulous, you know. Oh, I love it.
Terrace next to the turrets, AK.
Yeah, terrace, just between the turrets.
Just between the turrets.
Exactly, bud. Exactly.
Aye, good mate. I enjoying this good spell of weather we're getting. It's nice to play football on a nice summer's night like this, eh?
Oh, I'll tell you what. It's the best time to play. Best time to play.
Aye, it would be if we had the sunshine that long normally. It'd be good,
Yeah.
but it doesn't normally happen. But hopefully, by the time we get to Ibrox on Sunday, hopefully the sun will still be shining. Well, it is a 12 o'clock kick-off, I believe, isn't it, AK?
Is it 12 o'clock?
12 o'clock, Bridgeman.
Okay, I'll just go and check that because.
I put that in your diary. Don't want you sleeping in.
And there they are, wanting to sleep, let me tell you. I'll tell you.
Aye, it's the 12 o'clock, Bridgeman, just in case you didn't know.
That's what I'm saying. I actually didn't know, to be honest. So obviously I've got no idea what I'm doing. Let me just go down and look at it. Rangers 12 o'clock. Rangers Aberdeen. There you are. We're ready to go. That's imprinted.
That's sorted now. Set your alarm clock and get
I'm
yourself
cool
over
now.
to
I'm
Ibrox.
cool now.
Well, I'll tell you what today, if quickly. We had an interview for Barry. We'll hear a wee bit of the first part of it. If you two guys would like to go and mute.
Done.
We'll hear what he had to say today.
Yep. I know you get asked this question all the time, but any updates on your future at all, and what may lie in store for you?
None whatsoever. I'm just being honest, nothing. I've just got to concentrate, Jane, on making sure that I prepare my team as best as I can, and make sure we're ready to try and get a victory on Sunday, because it's been far too long at Ibrox.
Would you be expecting to have some kind of involvement? Because I guess the club is thinking ahead to next season, whether it's deciding to keep players on, signing players, etc. Would you be expecting to have any involvement in that at all?
Well, you make a good point, because there's obviously a number of players going about a contract, and you've got to be wary of the fact and respectful of the fact that these guys obviously want to know the situation going forward. But in terms of the guys that are running out of contract, no, I've not had any involvement in terms of what I would do and what obviously the players are thinking of doing. So it's a bit of a sticky situation, if I'm being honest with you. But I just need to be professional as I can and focus on, as I said, preparing the team for the final week of the season.
How hard is it not knowing?
It's hard, and I've got to be honest, and I think the players find it hard as well. But again, all I can ask is they be as professional as possible, which they have again this week. I've got to be fair to them. They've kept their head down. We've worked hard. We've worked on certain things, as I mentioned last week after the game, that we can get better. And and I've got to be professional, and so has the staff. So that's certainly been the case this week again.
Barry, as we sit here, we're 74 days away from Rangers' first game of next season.
Oh, I know that.
I mean, for the fans that are anxious about the amount of work that needs to be done this summer, what can you say to them? Can you offer them any sort of reassurance that things will be done in time for the first start of next season?
No, I've said my piece on it, and there needs to be a decision as quickly as possible. So we just need to wait and see. Everybody's in the same mind frame as myself. They just want to know what's going to be happening going forward, because, as I said, there has been a couple of changes made, and obviously there needs to be another few changes made in terms of what manager is going to be taking the team next year, and who's going to be staying, who's going to be going, signings coming in, etc. So there's certainly a lot of work to be done, and as you mentioned there, is it the 21st, 22nd of July is the first qualifying game for the Champions League. That's just round the corner, so you need to be wary of that as well.
From your discussions with Kevin, are things progressing in terms of not so much the manager side but the player recruitment side? Is he giving you indications of there's a list of targets that...
No, I just had a conversation in terms of how I've seen it since I've been in the door, since the 24th of February. Obviously that will remain private, should I say, that what we've discussed, but since then nothing. So I'm not going to go and cry in a corner. I need to be as professional as possible, as I mentioned before, and making sure that I do my job to the best of my ability.
The last couple of summers, Barry, there's been big turnovers in the squad, like 10, 12 or more, both in and out. Would you imagine it'll be a similar situation this summer, regardless of who the manager's going to be?
Yeah.
Is that the type of size of work that does need done on this squad once again?
Yeah, because we've not won anything this year. We've not won enough trophies over the course of a number of years. So, yep, there has to be changes. That's not just at Rangers, but that's at every football club it happens. But certainly here there has to be changes moving, going forward, and making sure that you're certainly challenging, you're certainly capable of winning trophies.
Given the kind of scope of the work that is required, then can that be done in one summer transfer window to then get Rangers to be challenging for silverware next season?
Yeah, I think it can be done. Yeah.
I suppose you only have to look at Celtic. A couple of years ago when Statistical came in, they had a similar rebuild and they were able to turn it round. Is that the evidence that can sort of back up? Yeah,
not just obviously what happened at Celtic. I've seen it at a number of clubs. Look, in an ideal situation, a manager wants a fair bit of time, but unfortunately, it's football. You don't get time. But yeah, there's a high possibility you can change it. There is no doubt. And in terms of myself, that doesn't scare me one single bit. If it's me, if it's somebody else, I think they will understand that there is a number of changes needed.
Aye, interesting. Not really interesting. I think most of the questions you asked, AK. The girl Jane that set it off. What's the prospect of you getting the job?
Some people be tired of the simple life.
You know?
Reverted to the ambitious man as he once knew. But with each passing day, those fears seemed less valid. The sun
You need to go on mute, pal.
the hot-headed young man with tin.
Go on then.
Anyway.
Right. Sorry, what were you saying there, Southside?
I said, first question you ask him, do you think you're getting prospect of getting the job? I think we've been heard this sort of question to him many times before you.
It's getting a bit monotonous now for him, isn't it? I mean, how many times does he need to answer the same question? He did appear to be a wee bit more optimistic, I've got to admit, after the game last week, but I think he's maybe backtracking a wee bit in his comments today, for me. I don't think he deserves a job, to be honest with you. When you break down, and I know he's coming into the club in a difficult position because it's no his players, it's no his squad, and he's trying to pick up a squad that's low in confidence and no great momentum-wise after the losses against Queen's Park and such. But he's had 12 games there. You know, I had a wee look at them before I come on. 12 games, he's had 4 wins, 4 draws and 4 losses. You know, the 2 outstanding wins in that group of fixtures is obviously Fenerbahce away and Celtic Park away, which when you break them down and individualise them, they're certainly impressive wins. But when you look at the other results, so I mean, he starts with Kilmarnock going 2-0 down there and they come back and win 4-2. We then lose at home to Motherwell. Fenerbahce then comes next. And then obviously the return game with Fenerbahce again at Ibrox, we lose, but we get through in penalties. Carry on momentum into Celtic Park, brilliant again. We think we're getting somewhere. Then we go to Dundee, didn't we? Go 2 behind, 2-0 down, 3-1 down. We come back to win 4-3. But other for then, you're talking about Hibs beating us at Ibrox, Bilbao 0-0, all right, down to 10 men, but we didn't win. Go to Aberdeen, 2 each draw. Go to Bilbao, 2-0 loss. St Mirren away, a draw 2 each. And again, last week, another 1 each draw. So when you look at it over the piece, I don't think he deserves the job to carry us forward. I don't know about your opinion, Southside and Bridgeman.
I'll come to Bridge. As I said, I like Barry knows what it is to play for Rangers. He's been there, done it. So has Neil McCann, Billy Dodds and McGregor. So I get that, that's what they bring. But when it comes to tactics and setting out team, getting a player, I just think the job's just too big for him. But he was only in the temporary contract to the end of the season, and I think that's what is a lot of people are trying to ask him for other snippets and all that. But the remit was come in to the end of the season, start a steady the ship, and do what he sort of put into the club, as in talking to the players and giving them the experiences of him. But apart from that, that's been a bit at Bridgeman. We've had a couple of standout results, but apart from that, the rest of it has been down to the players. It has been poor. Bridgeman, you're on mute.
I think that Barry takes a bit of the blame there. It's not all the players' fault, although they are about 90%. But seriously, Barry's made a few bloomers with substitutions and things like that, you know, as we saw in this positional with the team. But the truth of the matter is, overall, as a package, we're not good enough. We're not playing well enough, and we're not taking the chances, creating chances, but we're not taking them. So we've obviously got a lack of, shall we say, a lack of energy up front. And look, we're speaking, our centre forward scored, 25 goals or something this season. And it doesn't seem as if he scored any. We know he's whizzing goals, and I thought the goal he scored against them was a great goal. But you forget them quickly, because he'll come out with 5 blunders after that or during it. So again, how can I say, the players we've got, we know how we don't play well. How can the mismanagement team, all of them on the coaching side he's got in, how can they not get the players to play and win a game at Ibrox? They've failed miserably at Ibrox, really and truly, and that's the biggest problem I think with Rangers fans have got. It's all right going away and scraping a draw or getting a win. In other words, not getting beat. But the truth of the matter is, we've got to win at Ibrox, 100% win. We've got to do something. How can we have 5 games no win, or 6 games no win now? You know, it's just not right. Something's not right, and I don't like our manager blaming the players, because he came out quite categorically and blamed the players, say they're no doing what they're told on the pitch. Well, I'm sorry, that's just throwing the players under the bus. Some of them might deserve it, but not really and truly. I think I agree with AK. I don't think he'll get the job, and I don't actually think he deserves it. The truth of the matter, I don't know. I can't wait for a new manager to come in, seriously, because it's absolutely ponderous and it's murder Polish. Listen to the Rangers fans, it's murder Polish. They're all when we see that on the park, you're greeting. You feel like crying for them, you know. It's just terrible. And I've said this for years. I hate hearing Rangers players getting booed. I just hate it. And the board and the people are running the club, and they've got to do something to get that stopped. And the only thing they can do to get it stopped is start winning games. And we've not done it. Which is sorry, I'm ramping on there. Apologies, outside.
No, fine, Bridge. Listen, Barry's come in as much as stats are stats. We're on a losing streak at Ibrox, 7 games, never been heard of. And obviously you're wanting that to change. But since he's come in and tweaked about with the team and stuff, although we've had a couple of really good results, on the whole we've created less chances, and we've conceded more goals per game of late.
I mean, the facts are there. You just look at the results. As I said, I named all the results in the games, the fixtures that Barry's had, the 12 games, 4 wins, 4 draws and 4 losses. That's 12 points. We've picked up our 8 league games, and in the 8 league games we've scored 20 goals, but we've conceded 21. Now, people were on about Clement, and I heard you the other night as well, Southside, on about his style of play. We weren't scored enough, we weren't creating enough, we were conceding too many. Well, we sacked Clement after 23 games, and he had 56 points at that. So Barry's added 12 points onto that record, but Clement's team had scored 51 and conceded 17 at that point, you know. So the facts are, we're no scoring enough and we're conceding far too many, and we're not picking up enough points. I mean, you can blame a lot on players and on tactics and formations and whatever, but the turn of the year, Celtic have dropped 16 points for the turn of the year. That's including 2 defeats to us. We've dropped 19 points in that same time period. So the facts are, team's not good enough. It's not playing as they should be doing. Barry's telling you they're not playing to instruction. We need a clear out. It's new owners, for me, new manager, new captain, new players, and a fresh mentality in that dressing room. That's what we're drastically needing to go forward.
I heard them saying it was 74 days to our next competitive fixture, which will be one of the European qualifiers, Bridgeman. And he says, you think you can assemble a squad to compete or win a league in a season? And Barry says he thinks it's possible. So I think it depends on how many. He's obviously got an insider view at being the manager and watching them, and maybe hang me, but you'll not have any input, I don't believe, to anybody that's staying or going. That'll be done to the fresh manager, but seems to think it can be done in one transfer window.
It's quite amazing how a manager can say these things. As you say, it's obviously there. He knows what's going on to a certain extent. But if he's telling the world that his players aren't doing what they're told on the park at certain times of the game, then who's going to come to Ibrox and work for him if he's saying that? You know, because the players might be doing the right thing, they might be doing exactly what they're told them, but he thinks he's told them this, but in fact he's told them that kind of thing. That could be good on. But honestly, I just don't see it. I don't think he's got it. He's a fabulous captain for us, there's no doubt about that. And I don't really know how he did as a manager. I know it was with Alloa and you know, something like that, and I can't remember who else he was with. But he's came over for, I would say, the press or the media. Took the job at Rangers. I think he was doing, what do you call that work? Presentation stuff at Ibrox, you know.
Ambassador role.
Ambassador stuff. So, and that's about it. So as far as football's concerned, he hasn't had any football input for quite a wee while. So I'm sorry, guys, I really do. And to everybody that's listening, please listen. I can't apologise enough, but I have to say it. I don't see Barry and the rest of his coaching staff anywhere near Ibrox next season. I don't see it.
Aye, that'll be down to obviously the new manager and staff that we may bring in. I think the Moroccan guy we brought in, I think he'll have a part to play, I think, because he was brought in, then Clement left a short time after, really, AK. But I think the club obviously seen something in him and brought him to the club, not just because of what Ignaman. I don't think he was quite successful, the under-23 coach, and won them a tournament. So he's obviously got credentials that I think that might work at Ibrox with another manager.
I think he possibly was targeted, maybe not by Clement, but as you say, outside influence. Maybe that was round about the same timeline, if you remember right, when the Americans were allegedly coming in to do their due diligence over the club. So that very well might be their man that they put on the coaching staff, and probably an ear in the dressing room for them as well. What's really going on in there? What is the coaching staff telling them? How the players are reacting? What's getting said? Behind closed doors. So it's possible that he's been brought in for that reason. A lot of us were thinking, obviously, the connection with Igaman, just to make him more at home with his own language and speaking, and getting that integration into the team to help him develop in there. So there's every possibility. But I think Barry's spoke to that Kevin Thelwell, and they'll have an idea, mate. Guaranteed. I mean, I know Dave King was on Talk Sport the other day, and he was under the impressions that this wasn't going to be a quick fix. He's trying to put that message out there. He basically, in comparison to Gerrard coming in after Caixinha, the mess that he had to clear out, not only elsewhere in the club, but obviously on the park as well, wasn't getting to where we wanted to be. But for me, Gerrard came into probably a better situation than what we've got now, because when you consider he'd already tied up Alan McGregor, or Mark Allen did. Alan McGregor, Scott Arfield, Ryan Jack was already there, a young fit Ryan Jack, Morelos, Candeas, Tavernier. He'd already a kind of a squad at least, are players within a team that he could build round about to add to it, and that's exactly what he done. But it taken him numerous windows to get things right. So that we're kind of a wee bit up in the air now. We're obviously guessing a lot, but Dave King's interview the other day was quite revealing. Maybe not to everybody's ears to say that the takeover's not going to happen till mid-June, possibly, but I would like to think that we're going to have a new manager and before then, and I think Kevin Thelwell and the manager will be looking to, at potential signing targets already, because as you said there, Barry reiterated today, 74 days before our next competitive game. I take it was talking about a Champions League qualifier, so there's the weeks, the days, the weeks, the months, they're going to fly by. So the sooner we get the ball rolling on that, the better for me, mate.
Aye, it's going to, it's no long, it's going to come in quick, and the manager needs time and preparation, and to see what he's got there first to evaluate, and if he isn't already looking, if we do have somebody already lined up that they're not disclosing at the moment, but should we take it, the fact that they're still looking at possibilities and narrowed it right down to maybe 3 or 4, then obviously we need to act quick. We'll talk about acting quickly. If you two guys would like to hit me out, we'll hear what Barry had to say in the second part of his interview.
How big a motivation is it this weekend to get that first one at Ibrox?
Well, 7 games has been far too long. 2 of them I wasn't involved in terms of Queen's Park and St Mirren. And then I look at the other 5 games, Fenerbahce, Bilbao, Celtic, they're high quality teams. Get some very good players. The ones that kind of frustrate me and annoy me is the Hibs and Motherwell game, where the performances were well below which is what's expected, should I say. So I understand the players now understand what we have to do on Sunday. We have to get that first win, because as you mentioned there, 7 games is far too long.
It's a big thing for the fans and for the players, but is that personal motivation to walk out of Ibrox on Sunday as a winning manager?
Wait, say, excuse me.
Is there just that big personal motivation to walk out?
No, not just a personal motivation for myself, it should be for the players as well. They understand that 7 games is far too long. I understand that. The supporters certainly understand that. So that's all the motivation you need, is to go and make sure you get the 3 points against an Aberdeen team who are still going for 3rd place, who have a cup final to play as well. So they'll be chatting at the bit to make sure that they put a performance on, because they want to be in that cup final team. So I fully understand that it's going to be a tough game, but bring it on. And from my side, these are the games you want to be involved in. And the players certainly, again, as I said, with all the noise that's floating about this manager, that manager, and what's going to be happening, one thing I will say about the group of boys and the staff inside the building is they've been very professional, and they've worked hard this week again to make sure that we certainly get that first victory.
Barry, I think you said a couple of weeks ago, teams don't fear coming to Ibrox anymore. How much does that have to change, and whoever's in charge next season, do they need to make Ibrox a fortress again?
It's obvious it needs to change, because that's my thoughts. It might be different for somebody else's opinion, but I'm just being straight and honest. And I thought last week, in terms of the game against Celtic, was it our best performance? No, but what I seen was a fully committed team on the pitch, and that's what I want to see every single game. And if we give that same level, we have got quality, we've worked on some things that I think we can improve on this week, and if we get the things better, then we can certainly hurt teams.
Larry, I take your point about the quality of the teams you've played in some of these home games, but does the longer this run at home goes on, does that diminish your prospects?
That's up to other people to decide. I know the levels that they've gave in the 3 games that I mentioned, the quality teams. Now, anybody disagrees with me, if you're trying to say to me Bilbao, Celtic and Fenerbahce are the high quality teams, and that's not taking anything away from Hibs, they deserve to beat us, so did Motherwell. In terms of, does it diminish my chances of getting the job, that's up to other people to make a decision. But what I will say is my team will be fired up for the game on Sunday to try and get that first win in 7 games, because it's far too long.
Last 2 guys.
These 3 games still offer the players that you've said haven't done enough this season. Does this offer them a chance to show that they can play a part next year?
Yeah, I said it. Look, their places are up for grabs, because there is going to be changes, whether that's me in charge, whether that's a new manager coming in. You are playing for your futures, because managers have certain ways, they have certain ideas. So, look, I think the boys understand that as well. They know there's going to be change coming, so you need to go and show how good you are on the pitch, and then that will obviously help your chances of staying. Because, as I said, it's a great place to play football. I've always said that it's been a really disappointing season. So, yeah, they've got a real chance to go and show that they want to be part of the club going forward.
Callum, last one.
The Celtic goalkeeper spoke today, said there was 30 to 40 missiles thrown in his direction in Sunday's game. As a former player yourself, what do you make of those scenes?
Yeah, you don't want to see things like that happen. I'll be honest with you, when bottles come on, that's something, sorry, that I don't like to see, if I'm being honest with you. So obviously the club are going to take action with it, because it can harm a player, hurt a player. I've seen it in the past with lighters or whatever. I mean, I had that issue when I was in Fenerbahce, and there was stuff flying past my head, so it's not a nice feeling. So you've got to be careful, and you've got to watch what you're doing, because you want your supporters to come and support the team. But when you see objects like that getting thrown on, it's not nice to see.
Is there a concern that fans have only just been allowed back into these games, away fans? Is there a concern that we could go back to how it's been if fans don't behave themselves?
Well, certainly you don't want to see that. It's been great I've been involved in the last 2 games. At Celtic Park, seeing my own fans in and getting behind the team, it was brilliant. And I think if you ask any of the Celtic players or the Celtic manager, they'll say the same thing about Sunday there. So the last thing we want to see is fans not being allowed, because it's been far too long. I'm just happy that it's changed and we've got fans back in, and that's the last thing you want to see.
Very quick one.
Situation with injuries, Barry, Hadji, you're going to maybe use some fringe players like Casemiro. What's the situation?
Giannis unfortunately is going to miss the rest of the season. Yeah, disappointed for him. Spoke to him a couple of times. He's hurting because to be fair to Giannis, he's a brilliant kid to work with. He's got a lot to offer, so gutted for him. Nana has done well to come back. He's still not at the level that I would want him to be, but again, he's had a full week of training, so hopefully we'll see him on the pitch before the end of the season. Robin Proper trained today, so we're starting to get a few guys back ready to play. And listen, what I want as a manager is I want it to be difficult to pick an 11. I don't want it to be easy. So it's good having a few guys back into the fold.
There's a few things in that. Talking, obviously, the first thing, when we're looking at the team and the players, he's alluded, Bridgeman, that Hadji's out for the rest of the season.
Yeah, well, it looked like he was going to be out for the rest of the season. We could be off the park, you know. I think we've seen, I said this last week, in all honesty, I think we've seen the last of Hadji on the pitch. And the truth is, guys, we've only got 3 games to play. You've got this weekend, so you've got Sunday, Wednesday, and Saturday. That's us finished. That's the season finished. So I don't know. I know he was going on and saying things and all the rest of it, but the truth is, as far as us fans are concerned, we ain't going to see any more. From a Rangers perspective, we ain't going to see any more after next Saturday. That's the last game. So I'm afraid that Barry can say all the things he wants to say, and of course he maybe want to say a lot. Personally speaking, I think he says too much to some folks, and that's my honest opinion. I'll be glad to get to the end of the season, and it'll be nails getting bitten all the way through the season until such times as it's all going to happen for us. And I don't know how long it's going to be. What I thought was going to happen, it was going to be mid-May. It was the last time I heard it, and then I read a wee snippet, and it was something to do with Dave King, and Dave King saying that it's going to be the middle of June. And I'm thinking, well, this is typical Rangers. It's just a complete and utter shambles. How are we going to go? If it's not going to happen till end of June or middle of June, what on earth are we going to do? When does the transfer season? When does the window open? Is it June? Is it July? Or what? Who knows? Nobody knows then. So how can they prepare? When are we going to bring players in? Or no? The 2 young lads that are going to come in, they'll just come in and sign. It won't be a problem for them because it's a different deal and it's already done. But my goodness gracious, if we're going to try to get into a transfer market and we're in the middle of June and the deal's not done, we're in a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble because I don't know when the season starts, but it's maybe 10 weeks or so away. The first game of this, as far as we're concerned, first game of the season in the Champions League qualification. Wow. I mean, it just seems nonsense when you hear these things getting said. And Barry's going to tell you certain things, but he can't tell you in between now and next weekend. He really can't say anything. And then that's it done. Then it's all done. I don't know what you guys think. I think somewhere along the line, I feel as if we're getting our leg pulled. That's what I think. We're getting our legs pulled.
Well, Badge, it takes time, obviously, with the negotiations and stuff. You're not just dealing with one person. You were dealing with a lot of the shareholders to get control, and that's all been done and agreed in principle. everything else is, I think somebody's possibly thought it would be done sometime in May. Listen, Dave King might be wrong. It might, before then there might be an announcement. But taking it that what he said, you can say, well, okay, I think that surprised a few people, probably thinking it'd be when he said mid-June. But you never know, it could be earlier. Listen, we brought Thelwell in, so there's things happening in the background. We brought a chairman in, so there's no reason why we'll not be bringing a manager in. Then when we bring a manager in, then we should be able to go and get players, whether the deal's done and we sign a player before the deal's completed or no, it shouldn't matter. So I think there'll be things in the background, AK. You'll see things move quite quickly once the manager appears, to be perfectly honest.
Aye, of course you will, mate. I mean, I don't know if you heard the interview with Dave King on TalkSport the other day there. Certainly Rangers Radio played it. I think it was Wednesday night with you and Stevie and that. But he said that it was 90% completed, and it was just a matter of obviously tying up kind of loose ends. King is obviously willing to sell the majority, if not all, of his shareholding, and it's just a matter of convincing other shareholders to part with their percentage so that they can get the 51% that they're looking for to take full control of the club. So that's been in the pipeline for the last 6 months. There's a lot of things going on in the background that we don't know nothing about. We're only concerned about what we see in the park, the players, the manager. These are the things that the support's concerned about. Obviously, we're tying up merchandise deal. Heard a wee report tonight that we're signed with Castore up to 2030, and that was signed in February 2023. You know, so obviously they needed a wee cash injection there to carry that on. We're obviously happy with the Castore merchandise that's turning into Umbro now. So that things are moving along off the park. Maybe not as quick as we'd like it as supporters, definitely. We want clarity in the direction where the club's going as far as managers and players are concerned, because you've got players coming to the end of their contract. I think the window would open in June. So a lot of these things will probably already be decided behind the scenes, who's staying, who's getting an extension of contract, and other targets will be on the table for Kevin Thelwell, and probably Niels Coppin would be involved in that. So we're all surmising. We just want clarity, and Rangers gaffer Barry wants clarity there, and the players want clarity in who's staying and who's going. And then that's when we'll know. But season's planned out into a disastrous season. No doubt about that. But we're just looking for fresh beginnings. And the sooner the new ownership come in now and tell us exactly what's happening Southside, the better for going forward.
Aye, no, I know what you're saying. It's we're still under the Castore brand anyway. We're just using Umbro because you've got licence for it, and we're putting that on. That's where our strips will be for next season. Will be Umbro, but we're still Castore up until 2030, and then we'll see whether we're still with them or no, I would imagine. But if the deal was done then, I know we sell a lot of strips and merchandise, and they were happy with it, and I think we were getting some decent returns in the deal, so hopefully that will continue going forward until then, and then we'll see where we go for there under the new owners. But it's like, and it takes time, but things will be happening off the park, as you say. It was good to see Casawiro, Bridgeman. I know he played in the cup game. Barry said he's a week training since he's had that unfortunate knee injury in international duty. It's a player probably I'd like to see probably get some game time between the end of the season, because I think we've got an option to buy. I think he's looked all right when he first came in, and he played in different positions. It was just unfortunate he took the injury, so if we could maybe get to see more of him towards the end of the season, get more game time, I think it'd be good to see from the remaining games, although there's only going to be 3 left. But as a player, would you bring him back, do you think, with the option to buy? Do you think he's versatile enough and young enough and looked comfortable enough in the team?
Going by what I've seen, I can only go by what I've seen. I thought Casemiro was a good player. I thought that we need to find a position, whatever the position is, it needs to be nailed down, and you could play him. But he's got a lot of energy, and he's a strong player. And the only strong player in reality that we've got is actually injured now. It's Sterling. He's no scared to go in for the tackles and things like that. He's quite strong and doesn't get easily pushed off the ball. And Casemiro a bit like that too. And I think he would be a really good player for us. Now, I would like to see him play in the midfield. But I think when he first came, we thought he would be a good right back. But I think he actually played quite a good role in the right side of central defence at one game. So it's a mix-up as to where we could play him. But I'd like the boy to come back. I hope we keep him on. I don't know what kind of contract he's got, so maybe he'll be able to tell us. Is he up at the end of the season? I don't know. But I would certainly keep him on and see how we go on. But that'll be up. Of course, that's going to be up to the new manager, whomever that may be.
If he wants to come back and play, like I say, he looks athletic enough. He's at the right age. AK has just unfortunately had that injury. But apart from that, I dare say, if we're looking to take it forward, I think the figure was about 1.8 million. I think euros. I believe it was around about then at the time. Providing he's back for injury and he's fine, I thought he'd be a decent asset to the squad.
I would listen. See the fact that he's even back under our roof again and training ways, and he was keen to do that because obviously I think he was ahead of schedule. I think Clement had basically wrote him off to the end of the season, and that's why he returned back to his parent club. Is it Feyenoord? He was with, so that they were obviously happy with his kind of recovery period and how he was doing physically, and they thought that have competitive training with us, with obviously more chance of breaking in to the first team before the end of the season, and certainly playing with the academy, that would be good for his development and recovery. So if there's a possibility of us extending his loan deal with another year with maybe an option to buy, I think it would be good for the club, good for him, because I think Tavernier is really coming to the end of his tenure at Ibrox. For me, that's 9 years he's been with us, and we need to move on. And if it's Cassian Werner that's replacing him, then I'm all for that, because he looked good. He looked good in his appearances, and certainly the injury he took, it was with the Dutch under 21 team. So even the Dutch national coaches are impressed with him as well. So I'd be all for that, Southside.
I think if he fancies coming back, or we take the option. At the end of the day, we think we had the option, but obviously with the injury, it might push it back to maybe a 6 months loan with a view to buy, or it might just have to be, they might say, no, it's either buy or no. And I suppose if you get tested, check him out and he's back fit, and then he does a pre-season, I think he'd probably be a good asset. It's strange because you mentioned right back there, Bridgeman, he says, and yet always thought that Sterling would be the natural replacement to go in there for James Tavernier in time, but he's struggled badly with fitness and obviously with Achilles snap. You'd probably not see him around about September time, because it's a long haul back when you snap your Achilles.
Oh goodness, yeah, and a lot of prayers. He's going to be saying a lot of prayers, that boy, and hoping that he will have a recovery. It's going to be a good one, because these things are murder. I've played with so many players that never made it, or it took them 2.5, 3 years, you know what I mean, before they could even trust themselves to play football. And doctors are telling them, don't play, you'll break it again. It's very dangerous thing, very dangerous. However, a lot of the guys came back, but with all the longest I knew was 3 years, and he was probably told to not to do it, I don't know of any actual full-time professional in the Scottish League or in our team that's ever come back after 3 years. But it didn't take 3 years. They're nearly always quite good. Maybe get a 6-month deal at it in that way. So he'll be back in training. But some of the players get some terrible injuries when playing with Rangers. terrible injuries, and they don't really recover. I mean, I look at Danilo, and I think that Danilo is a smashing wee player, but I don't think he's ever recovered for that smash he got in the side of his face. I mean, somebody stuck aiding him. It's as simple as that. Somebody stuck aiding him. So I just wonder. I just wonder what happens to these players. Sterling, obviously a really strong guy, and everybody wishes him nothing but the best and come back as quickly as possible. But yeah, I think Casemiro could sit into the stick, no problem. We could play him a right back if he wants to play it right back. But I would like to see him there, and maybe get a wee run up the wing like Tavernier does, and get him into a midfield position type thing. I really like the boy, so I don't know what's going to happen.
Aye, it's one that we'll wait and see. Obviously, new manager coming in again probably throws that up in the air. But obviously, Niels Cotton had went and got him, and we brought him in to try and see him and see if we could get him as in full time going forward. And just unfortunately, he took that knee injury. So it's one that I think he would do a job. I think going forward, he'd be a good signing. He was versatile in a few positions, but I think probably right back or maybe right centre back might suit him. And it's one that I'd maybe look at. I think the other boy that we took on loan, Fernandez, took the hamstring injury at Aberdeen. Don't know if he'll be at all in the plans for the next 3 games at all, if he's fit or no. But it's another one that we took on loan and didn't play him in a few games, obviously. And then obviously when we do play him, because he hadn't played for so long, he takes a hamstring injury, and that's another one that will probably go back to Portugal and we might not see him again.
I think you're right there. I agree with you there. The only thing I would also add to the Casemiro sign, if we do get him back, I think we should learn our lesson a wee bit for the way we treated Dujon Sterling. Because when he came into the team, we bought him as a right back, but he played there, he played right centre back, he played left centre back, right across the back line. He also played in midfield, in virtually every position. And I think he also played outside left or outside right at one time as well. So that might have contributed to his injuries that Sterling's picked up. And obviously, you're there, every player knows their own natural position. I mean, you've spoken about it often enough, mate, about McCausland. Obviously, he's getting a lot of criticism off a section of support because he's coming out there as the kind of right wing, and he's no, he's not getting the numbers, he's not putting the performance he's producing and what we're expecting. But you've said many times that's not his position. So why are you expecting all this after, boy? I think it's unfair on him to be doing that, as it was unfair on Sterling, and I hope we don't do the same with Casemiro. If we're bringing in Casemiro, he's our right back and we play him there. The odd time he might have to swap out to left back or fill in at centre half, but don't mess the boy about. Don't mess his development about, because that's his natural position and that's where he sees his long-term future in going.
I think that's important, obviously, when you do bring players in, that you do try and put them into their natural position, because that's where they're going to feel most comfortable. Understand when they're young boys or that, or even now and again, we have to bring players in. We will play them out of position at times, and sometimes people will say, well, good players can adapt, and sometimes they can, but I think when you're brought in to do a specific job in a team, and then you get moved out of position, I think as we're talking about Sterling, I just think he's been struggling with fitness for a long time that he's been at the club. He was out and dead early when he was injured in that, and if you probably look at his full game time, it's no great, Bridgeman. So although he done well in certain games in midfield and wide left at St Mirren, it was AK, it was dreadful, which wasn't his fault, and he's been out wide right and that. Just think I'd wanted to see him get settled on a right back position and get a run of games. I think when he has played in there in the few games that he did in European game and that against them, I think he showed up well. then unfortunately the Achilles, and it'll be how you. It's the length of time once you've had the operation, you've got to build your calves up again. Your calves disappears. I heard a boy talking about it when he was out with Achilles, and he said it's one of the hardest injuries that you recover from. For the simple fact is, you've got to build the muscles up round about your ankle, and your calf just disappears because you're not using it, and then you have to build it up. It's when you try to come back is when you pick up other strains, and calf might pick up a calf strain, or you pick up a strain somewhere else, and it's just hard to say sometime to get back for that. So hopefully he'll come back quick, but I think it'll be easy September time before we sort of we hear from him again, in my opinion.
Is that for me, Southside or Bridge?
It's for Bridge, man.
It's for me, I hope. Right. You get on to me.
On you go, Bridge.
Shocker. No, I think we know he's a big, strong lad, and I'm every confidence he's going to come back. But I keep thinking back to when some of our players get injured. I keep thinking back to me Durant when he got injured, and I know he came back eventually. He was never the same player, 100%. But if you've got 85% of what he was, then you got a good player because he was a smashing player. So it's really difficult to say. But I hope Sterling has got the spirit to come back. I think physical-wise, I don't think it's a big problem. He's a big, strong lad. But these things are, as you described, it's not just the one thing. There's about 5 or 6 things happens. One triggers another, and it's got to be done in the right way. And then you can start walking on the grass. I'm just purely football related. You can walk on the grass, and you can maybe start a wee jog on the grass, and that's when you start to feel it, because obviously the grass gets around your studs or wraps around about you, and starts to pull wee things easily. So that's the kind of things you've got to do. And you're right, it takes time. So I would actually think, in all honesty, if he gets back in September, he's done a really good job. And Rangers trainers and coaches and physios, they've all done a great job on him. If we get him back by September, that's a miracle for me. A miracle.
Aye, we'll see how it goes, but that was just my guesstimate, as they say. There's no, AK, there's not a chance Barry will want to leave Rangers and go back to ambassador role and have a stat that says he never won a game at Ibrox.
No, that's nearly as bad as Gordon Jury's, isn't it? Sorry if you're listening to Boxman, but that's a tag that Jury would be. Oh man, for the amount of goals that he scored for us, never scored against Dane. At least Chris Boyd scored one. but nah, you're right. Barry will be desperate to get that monkey off his back and get the home victory. I know no mean a lot in terms of points going on the table, but to have that, I think there actually was a point in time. I heard I read an article the other day. In the early 60s, believe it or not, we went 9 games without winning a game at Ibrox, and that was with all the great players back then, with Shearer, Galdo and all them. So that's incredible alone as well. So if we can get our victory against Aberdeen, then that will put that to bed, and at least Barry can say he always win at least one game at Ibrox.
Well, Bridgeman, if it isn't on Sunday against Aberdeen, it will need to be on the Wednesday night against Dundee United, because that's the last 2 home games we've got left. It's mad as it is. You look at the games that we've played, that he's been involved in, and it was technically the Motherwell game, which was shocking display that day. In St Mirren. So it's for then obviously the European games and that, but in the league, I think Sunday he'll not want to be left with that record going away for the club. He'll want to make sure that we get a win I think on Sunday, I think I'm hoping we'll create chances, and although Aberdeen's are chasing third place, we've got to get that win at Ibrox. Bridge?
I'm afraid that Barry, every game he's had at Ibrox has been a painstaking affair. Sometimes we played quite well, sometimes played brilliantly, and then let ourselves down. But as far as playing Scottish teams in the league at Ibrox, we are very poor. Barry's been out-coached nearly every game. You can see it. Nearly every game he's been on the Barry Ferguson. He's been out-coached with the opposition coaching. The changes, you sit and watch it, you watch it yourself, you know that. Southside, you watch a game and you can see the subtle changes taking place. You see the way the teams marshal themselves and run through the Rangers midfield. It's all, everything's all there. And I don't know if Barry knows what to do. I don't know whether he realises from a coaching perspective at this level, maybe that's just too much for him. I don't know. But I certainly know there are a number of games completely out-coached. And, you know, the other team, and the opposition make a wee change. Maybe one or two substitutions come on. And before you know it, we're under pressure again. And he's got no answer. I don't want to chide them. I don't want to go on about anybody. I just feel that Barry's not the man for Rangers. I don't think he's got the coaching nous to get a team out onto the park to do the wins, particularly at Ibrox. For some reason or other, he can't do it. Maybe he's going to be the worst Rangers manager ever insofar as results at Ibrox are concerned, if he's not there already.
I was just thinking back when I think I said St Mirren, but it wasn't, it was Hibs. Hibs were on the run. And they came with them. Listen, Hibs came at, it's not often you expect to see a defeat at Ibrox, AK. No, early years, you'll get the odd defeat here or there, but it's never been on the sort of run that we've been on. But Hibs at that time were the undefeated team in the league. They were on a run of about 14, 13 games or something at that time. But we should have been good enough. You expect to win your home games, put it that way, didn't you? You expect to win your home games.
Oh, absolutely. Aye, well, listen, we've got a support that's expecting a result, no matter who we play against. You know, that's the standard that most of us were brought up on, and we're passed down to generation. And when the team aren't producing the results we're expecting, we're wondering why, and we're not too happy, put it that way. You hear the moans, the groans, the boos coming out the stand, and quite rightly so, when they're seeing these sort of performances and the effort or the lack of effort that the players are putting in. And we just look a mess sometimes. Some of the individual errors that we've made, particularly in the last 6 months, a year. I mean, Albert spoke about Butland, he's been highlighted, but you could go right through the full team. Guys seem to get away with it a wee bit. They hide a wee bit with their numbers. That kind of covers them a wee bit, but they're still not producing the goods. You know, I mean, see when I look at our higher goal scorers in the league, just the league stats in the Dessers has scored 14 with 2 assists. You know, that's your top goal scorer in the league, in the team. Then we've got Cherny, 11 goals, 2 assists. And then we've got Igaman, 11 goals, 1 assist. You look at Celtics, and I had a look, and it hates, a pain me to say this, but they've got 8 players in their team that have got double figures with goals and assists, and that's how you win leagues. When Celtic have scored over 103 goals and they've conceded just 23, so they get plus 80 as a goal aggregate. We've only scored 71 goals, you know, so that's us lagging, 32 goals behind them, and we've conceded 38. So we've also conceded 15 more goals than them. You don't win leagues with these sort of stats. So we need to be better. everybody needs to be
we'll touch on that. We'll maybe touch on that after the tune then. I know you've got something there and we can have a look at it and we can talk about it. So if tune time, guys, so if you two guys would like to hit mute, we'll hear the tune. Aye, took me back there and I was just listening to that song. And I was just thinking the night times we used to have that on the bus and that for European trips back in the day and that. And it made me think just the other night when you see Manchester United and Tottenham in the final of the Europa. And I was thinking back to every game. So although circumstances we went down to 10 men, but the one game that we never really gave ourselves done any justice was in the two legs of Atletico, because for the achievement got to with a squad that we've criticised, haven't played well. You're looking at our goal scorers in the league with 14 goals and stuff like that and 2 assists. I was just thinking back, we played the 2 teams, you know, and we could have beat Tottenham. Fugoli doesn't save for Dessers. There was other chances in the game, but that one near the end. And also, we were seconds away from walking out of Old Trafford with a point. And yet they 2 have managed to get to the final, and they were part of the teams that we actually played, AK.
Aye, well, certainly on the 90-minute performances, we acquitted ourselves well. Out the 2 games, but well, you're right in what you say, that the home game against Spurs in particular, I thought for long spells we were the better team. We started a bit dodgy, if you remember right. Butland made a mistake, but the linesman or the referee kind of got him out of hole. But after that, we recovered well, scored a good goal. But I think the difference when you get that deep into tournaments, it comes down to how much quality you've got in your squad depth, and I think that was a factor last night. I noticed both Williams brothers weren't playing, both injured. I don't know whether that was as a factor with the result. For the first leg, thinking that they were already out the tie and they were more concentrating in La Liga and finishing as high up the table as they could there. That's definitely a possibility. But they went ahead, and they asked the question a wee bit. But Man United responded well. Don't know if you've seen the goals, man. That Mason Mount scored 2 crackers. So I think it's probably the piece of the tournament. I think that's probably the right 2 teams that are in the final, and it should be a good final to be honest with you. I know the 2 of them are struggling domestically with their form, and other people are saying that it's not right that they should have a Champions League place out yet. And see, when on reflection, I think England could have 5, 6 teams in the Champions League. That's not right. So I don't think that you should be stopping the Europa League winners for entering the Champions League. If you win the Europa League, I think you've deserved your place. But when you're finishing 4th and 5th in the league and still getting in the Champions League, for me that kind of dilutes the competition a wee bit. I don't know your own thoughts on that, Southside.
Aye, well, winners you would expect if they were high up in the league and they were qualifying for Europe or won the league, they would go into the Champions League. And if they didn't make that place, then you'd expect them just to go back in as holders of that competition if they didn't make the Champions League spots. But now there's that many open bridge, man. There's that many teams now. Certain countries are getting the extra place, but I thought we acquitted ourselves very well against Tottenham and Manchester United in the run. And I think as much as our teams let us down in the league performances for coming back and not being able to beat teams after a European game, which you need to have that consistency. So I think the squad wasn't big enough or able enough to cope in all fronts. And I think on the front that let us down was in the league games, Bridgeman. But I still think it was a fantastic achievement when you see where you get to now and you see who 2 got to the final. And if we had just equipped ourselves better in the 2 games, or had a penalty possibly in a red card that may have changed the game should you score the early goal. So ifs and buts, but at the end of the day, I think it was a fantastic performance for the players.
I think, as far as I'm concerned, we've still, even in Europe, even as well as we've done in Europe, and I will not complain about other things that we've done in Europe. I can say in all honesty, when we played it with the last 2 games we had at Ibrox in Europe, in a European game, we were not at top form. We just weren't. And I think we let ourselves down. And that's where we lost the games, for me, that could have made a difference for us. We just didn't seem to do it at Ibrox. We did no bad away, getting draws. But when we came to Ibrox, now we couldn't do it. And it just failed. We just failed that way. So we're now saying that Ibrox in the league, up to a certain point in the season, in the league, Ibrox was very, very good, right? But at the tail end of it, I don't know, can't remember when it started, if it just started under Barry, to be honest. But my goodness gracious, we haven't been very successful at Ibrox at all. Ibrox has not been a really good stadium for us. And I'm talking in the latter stages of the European things that we're in. So that's all I can say about that. I think we let ourselves down badly at Ibrox, in Europe, and eventually in the league as well. So, and I'm not talking about the tail end of the league, to be quite honest. Out here, we're sitting here, and we've got 2 games to go in Ibrox, 2 Ibrox games. And if we don't win one of them, we're in a lot of trouble because our record's absolutely terrible. But if we lose both, oh my goodness gracious, will we ever live it down? Will we ever live it down? So it's up to us tomorrow night. Sunday. Get in there and do it Sunday and get it done, because there's no need to be worried about anything else.
Talking about somebody that's just joined us, it doesn't really worry about much. How you doing, big man? Mr. Olbear?
You hear me?
Yes.
We can now.
Can now, you're off mute.
I'm a, what do you call it? A long time caller, first time listener, mate. I was waiting for the Big AK's stats, so I want to hear his stats.
All right, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll go to it because we were going to do it in the second half. So I'll let AK take over and he can give you some stats and then we can get your thoughts on it along with Bridgeman, all right?
Go for it, pal.
Right, I was just interested in David Hare done an article in Follow. Many of the listeners might have seen it. I don't know if you've seen it yourself, but there's a breakdown there and it gives individual years for the turn of the century right up. But we'll no bother pre, going down the leagues and that. So basically for 2017 to 2025, so obviously we've been through a few managers there in that time, but I'll read out these stats if you don't mind, guys, and then you can come in with your own thoughts and opinions on it. But 2017, he's got 3 managers against us: Warburton, Murty, and Kashinya. It was 67 points we managed to score in the league that year. 19 victories, 9 loss, goals scored 56, goals conceded 44. Finished third that year. Not a great year, but 2018. Kashinya starts the season, then we need to drop him for Murty, and again we finished third, but this time we've increased our points to 70, 21 victories, 10 losses, 76 scored, 50 against. 2019, Stephen Gerrard comes in. This time we accumulate 78 points. 23 victories, 6 defeats, 82 scored, 27. 2020 is the COVID season. Obviously finished early after 29 games. And then the next season's our season. 102 points we scored that year, undefeated, 32 league wins. That would be 6 draws. 92 scored, 13 against. The following season, Gerrard and Gio comes in when Gerrard decides that he's had enough. But we scored 89 points that league season. 27 league victories, 3 defeats, 80 scored, 31 against. Then Gio starts the season but is replaced with Beale. 92 points we scored that season, 29 victories, 4 losses, 93 scored, 37 conceded. Then Beale starts the season, Clement follows him, 85 points we score again that season, but we're finishing second, obviously. It's at 27 league wins, 7 defeats, 87 scored, 32 against. Now this season, obviously, we've had Clement, we've had Ferguson, and we've got 3 games to go. But we've only, what are we to do? 68 points scored so far this season. 20 league victories, 7 defeats, 71 scored, and 38 against. So it was just a wee breakdown on that. We obviously gave an in-depth article added to the stats, but as you can see, there's a well, for me, there looks as if there's obvious improvement there with the points wise with Gerrard, but we really drop off, particularly in goals scored and goals conceded after Gio, and I think that's down to a lot of recruitment. I don't know your own thoughts on that, Southside.
Aye, recruitment, obviously change of manager, obviously doesn't help. Albert was wanting to hear what the stats were and that, and I'm sure he's probably seen them now. But it's down to recruitment, and obviously your goals against come down to, we can all point to individual errors for a lot of your defence, allowing crosses in and stuff, so all that adds into your goals conceded. But I think you can see in the period that Gerrard was there, the goals went up and we conceded less because we had a bit of stability, and at that time we had the goalkeeper play every week in McGregor, and you also had Tav and Golson ever present as well, Albert, as part of your back four.
I mean, there's reasons all over the place, but I can't go to these stats and put them all together. I mean, I could have saved them a lot of time. It was just to make the point that we're crap, apart from one season. I could have told them that right from the beginning, along with a million other Rangers fans. No, I mean, it didn't take stats to prove the point. The point is, I've heard about the new manager this, the new manager that, and we're all wanting this. And who is it's going? It makes no difference who it's going to be. Successful managers have got one thing in common, by the way. They manage good players. All successful managers manage good players. What we need to do is get good players. These stats is the same thing. You never had good players, mate. You had good players in one season, and look what we done. We didn't improve, and we didn't make haven sunshine, and we decided to hod fire or hod back. We do this. We could get away with this for maybe another one, maybe even possibly 2 seasons. Well, everybody else in the leagues is getting like, no, look at what's happening now for next season. Hearts are wanting to strengthen, Hibs wanting to strengthen, Aberdeen all wanting. All of a sudden, Rangers are starting to come out the doldrums now. Everybody now wakens up and wants to strengthen. That mob has been winning league after league after league, cup after cup after cup. Nobody wanted to strengthen. Nobody's bothering that much. All of a sudden, Rangers are on the scene, and it's, everybody pay attention now. Let's all get our act together here. We all need to start playing. But it's good players, mate. It's all down to good players. We've had some crap players at the club. Players that should never ever have been at the club. In fact, I would go as far as to say there's more bad players at the club than we've had good players at the club over the last 10 years, and that's a fact, mate. And these stats, no, that they just back it up. But the boys try to make a point saying that with the stats that we're being a bad team. I can tell you that. We all sit and watch it. We all know what we're watching. We see crap. We know crap, and we've been crap. And I'll tell you, right, these games that's remaining, if they 3 teams, Aberdeen, Hibs, Dundee United and Hibs, if they put up a fight against us, they'll beat us. It's just the way this team is, mate. Anybody that puts a fight up against us, they'll beat us. The worst they'll get is a draw. Because this team's not got the bottle to fight anybody. They've just no got it, mate. Oh, they got up for the odd big game and all that carry on, but they've just no got it. It's no in them to do it. Stevie was on the other night about bottle and strength and guile and determination and fight and drive, all the good stuff that the good players have all got in abundance. None of these players have got that. Just stand back and get bullied again. I'm expecting Aberdeen to come there on Sunday and bully us. Like every other team comes and bullies us. It's ridiculous, mate. Even if you win the 3 games, it makes no difference. I keep telling you, they're not meaning. I know you don't like to hear it, but it's a fact that everybody knows. We are trying to make something out of nothing here. Oh, we don't want to get beat any more games at Ibrox. Why not? What difference does it make? What's the start? Oh, we don't want Barry to get away because we don't want him to go down as the one as you never won a game at Ibrox. What's the difference? The league's gone. The cups are gone. We're out of Europe. All the stats, all these nonsense records, well, mean nothing. What means everything is winning leagues and winning cups. That's what means stuff. Keep focused on what means stuff. I want us ready for the first 5 games of the season to get after a flyer. That's what I'm looking for. And forget about this. We need to get everybody in place and we're all going to be ready for next season. We're never going to be ready for next season. It's impossible. But what we can be is ready for the start of the league. You'd be lucky to get by the qualifiers, really lucky, but not impossible. Again, you're going to try it, but you're not going to be ready for it. There's no chance you're going to be ready for it, but you can be ready for the league. Better prepared for getting into that league campaign, and that's what I'm saying. And that's how you win leagues. You start off well. You don't let your opponents get them 5 and 8 points at a start, and then try to start chasing them for the rest of the year. Knowing a draw or another defeat, and that's basically done. I'm done with this nonsense. This is the nonsense that we're concentrating on. We concentrate on the rank stuff, mate. We need to concentrate what we need to do next season to win this league. The league is everything next season, and and for there on in, it's not just win the league and that's it. For there on in, and you've got to win the league to start this, to get Rangers recovered properly, and then you need to win it the year after. Start with the league, and how do you win the league? You need to concentrate on it. You need to concentrate on who we're playing, because you know this random computer's going to set you up with Snyders, mate. Absolute Snyders. And they're going to do everything in their power, replacement men, to make this as difficult as possible for us. So you need to be ready for it. That's what I'm thinking about. I'm not thinking about qualifiers and who's coming in and who's not coming in and managers and all that. I'm just saying, if we're going to have enough ready to the start of this season and the league campaign, because that's what I want next season. The rest of it is, everything else is just gravy to me, mate. The league for me, mate.
Well, that's probably what the remit, I'll come back to Alec in a second, that probably comes back, then I'll come to Bridgman. That probably comes to the remit of the manager. And I think that should be, in my opinion, it's got to be the manager's remit. Aye, Europe's nice and fancy and it's dandy and you've got your name back here and we've got good coefficient and it helps the club. And it gives the board in the past has gave them a chance to stick the prices up quite substantially for a lot of the support. Even the Europa League prices weren't very good again this year for the support, I think, at home, especially when it's beamed live on telly and that. And I just think it could have been a bit cheaper, especially when you're going to other grounds or Europe and it's all cheaper than what we were charging as our support, but that's another thing. For me, bread and butter, it's got to be the remit of the manager. If we go in and we get through the Champions League qualifiers, fine. If we don't, wherever we end up, we go into. But for me, it's all about the league and the 2 cups. Everyone's got to be focused on that, I think, next season. And I think that should be a priority for the whole of the team. And see what we do in Europe. But for me, it's got to be Scottish. It's got to be Scotland. AK.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you there. Listen, it was just a quick one before you go into Bridge with his thoughts on it, but I noticed there seasons 2009 and 2010, Walter Smith was our manager. The first 2, he's 3 in a row there. We accumulated 86 points that first season and 87 points the following season to win the league. In seasons 2022, when Gerrard left, Gio took over with 89 points that season, but we didn't win the league. The following season with 92 points, we didn't win the league. Does that suggest, and I think I know the answer before I say it, that the league's not as strong these days as what it was back, 10, 15 years ago? Because when I look at the league table now, Hibs are sitting in third in 56 points, 29 points behind Celtic, and Aberdeen are a further 3 points behind them, 32 points behind. Where's the competitiveness? So we basically know it's a 2-team league. We need to get our own house in order.
It's not a 2-team league.
It's been a 1-team league, to be honest.
Aye.
It's been a 1-team league. That's the issue. We have got complacent, right? We have no built structurally right straight away. We're patched. So it's been a 1-horse race basically. Now I think maybe we're getting investment because we have to get it into the club because that's what we need. You can see Hearts of, I think Tony Bloom has been put in up to a stake at 29% into Hearts. So he's obviously wanting to boost them and maybe try and kick them on. You'd like to think Hibs, we got an influence with their owners and stuff. And Guy Gray's turned that team around for probably getting the bullet Bridgman. I think a lot of people thought he was close to getting the sack, but he's turned them round. Hibs will probably look to invest. Aberdeen have been putting money into their squad. So you'd like to think that the league next year, if the managers are thinking positive, they might not always find the low blocks. You might find that they actually might come out and try and play a bit of football as well.
Well, there's a great chance of that because the last time they came to Ibrox, they did play that. And there's a lot of the teams this season, particularly the sort of second phase of the season, there's a lot of teams played football at Ibrox and played well. And we were fortunate to get good goals we scored, but as far as our play was concerned, I don't think we deserved a lot of the goals that we got. And speaking in just general, So a lot of the teams have came, and much to my chagrin, I just don't want to see teams playing well at Ibrox. We should have never, ever, ever feared any team at Ibrox, for God's sake. It was a huge stadium, 50,000 people coming to it. What are we worried about? What are the players worried about? We've got the best support in the world, probably, and we fall apart. The players fall apart. Nah, wrong. Get it? All Bear's been telling us for the last 6 months, maybe even 6 seasons, that we're rubbish. As simple as that. The players are rubbish, and we need to get better players. How we get it, I don't know. We need to get better coaches, and how we get them, I don't know. We're getting close to the stage where, well, we'll be talking about the football all next week, and that's for sure. But the end of the season's coming up, and next Saturday it'll be the last game of the season, or Sunday, whichever day it is. And it's actually falling all over us. We've 3 games left, and bang, there you go. And the last game's away. We're away at Hibs, and Hibs gives us always got a hard tough. To me, anyway, we always got a tough game against Hibs in their own day. So I don't know when it's going to happen. I don't know how it's going to happen. But we need to start winning at Ibrox, and I think we should be winning at Ibrox on Sunday. It's got to happen. It's Sunday we're playing, or Saturday, I can't remember now. Probably Sunday.
Sunday at 12 o'clock.
Yeah, there we go. So
there's one thing for sure, Bridge. There's one thing for sure. No manager in the history of football has ever managed a group of bad players to win a league. Never happened. It's never happened. So you've got to get the recruitment right. And our recruitment, as the guys have just been talking about, has been stinking, and it's been stinking for years. It's got to stop. We've got a group of players that see the teams that have beaten us in Aberdeen, Hibs, Motherwell, the St Mirren. They're just filling the park up. They want as close to us as possible because they want us in a battle, because they know they can throw us about like empty tracksuits. So they need to get close to you to do that. To do that, they have to come up the park. That's why they're not sitting in a low block anymore, because they have to get close to our players. They're weak. Our players are small and weak. They're a team of midgets that can't run. They can't fight. It's ridiculous, mate. We're trying to beat professional football players with primary school boys. That's what it's like, mate. It's stupid. It's just stupid. You've never seen a weaker Rangers team than this. Physically, I'm talking about. No, forget about technique. No, physically, you've never seen a weaker team than this. It's beyond belief, by the way, what we're watching. Some good players there, some technically good players there, but it's not that what we need. We need strength, mate. We need a bit of backbone in the team, in the squad. It's ridiculous. It really is. You can count in one horn, and I don't even think you'll fill that horn up with the amount of solid, hard, tackling professionals that we've got in that club. Other people are scared of and go, don't want to mess him about. These teams can't wait to come to Ibrox to play us. That's what Ferguson's trying to tell you. They don't fear you. Would you fear playing Rangers in? I don't think there's any team in Britain would fear playing Rangers in. You look at that team and you go, no, we can smack them all over the park, no bother. We might beat you in a bit of football. You allow us to play a bit of football. Like you get a wee bit of time in Europe to play football. But if you just want to get a pure battle, nah, there's no chance. There's no chance. We're fighting against the wind, or we're farting against the wind, as they say. It's ridiculous, mate. We're going to get the recruitment right. We need to get speed and strength into our team. We're going on about it during the week. I was listening during the week, and it's true. It's absolutely true. 100% true. It's no rocket science, this. Sorry,
no, we need that. We know that. We need power. Listen, even although we've still battered these teams season after season, we've took more points after them in seasons than what they've done. This is like one of the freak seasons where we've lost more points to St Mirren's and that. Hibs coming and beating us at Ibrox. Hibs have came and beat us at Ibrox before, but not very often. You know, it happens. It just so happens that I just think some of the players probably are a bit mentally tired now as well, physically tired. No used to playing the amount of games in the short space of time. And now the season's done, it is a bit harder for them to probably lift themselves like any other club that's out there. You'll see that for the results this weekend. It's going to be out there when you're doing a coupon, because the most of the leagues are finished, as you know. So on that note, I think since we're going to have to do a coupon this weekend, I think it's only right that we hear Southside Super 6. Hi, welcome to Southside Super 6 for the 10th of May. First selection this weekend is Leyton Orient to beat Stockport County. Second selection is Wolves to beat Brighton. The third selection is Hearts to beat Motherwell. The fourth selection is Crystal Palace to beat Tottenham away from home. The fifth selection is Nottingham Forest to beat Leicester. And the sixth selection is Chesterfield to beat Walsall at home. If you take all six, it pays 72 to 1. Anyway,
the Super 6. Hey, the Super 6 is getting like Bitcoin. I'm not allowed to buy it.
We're in the money. We're in the money.
Cash it.
Brilliant.
When you look forward, well, as we look forward to the game on Sunday, I don't think he's going to change much, Albert. I think
this is the mental thing about it, isn't it? This is the thing about it. We'll be bad about our place.
Like you would,
we're not going to
normally. I'd like
crazy, mate.
Aye, I would like NCR to play, for instance, right? I would just start him. I know Balogun done all right with Hangman. He's probably fit because he's had a week's rest, but you want to see NCR. I'd like to see Bailey Rice start. If Finlay Curtis hadn't took, I don't know if he's back in training or no, how it's been since then. Because these people that go to Ibrox, they don't ask them any of that. They're not asking them a question. You heard the press conference, Albert. You know, you think they'd want to ask them about certain players. How's Danilo? How's Cortez? You know.
Never seen them. Forget about them, mate. The Rangers supporters have forgot about them as well, let alone the reporters. It's crazy, mate. It's just totally and utterly crazy what's happening up there. We're not winning games, right? And we look pretty poor, but we're not changing it. We're definitely not changing it. We'll put the same. It took him long enough to take Butland out the team. Butland should have been took out the team first quarter of the season. He should have been took out the team. But we persevered all the way up to we're playing for nothing. With one game left, the Fenerbahce again, and then we decided to take him out of the team. You say, why did it take that long? You've got Dessers running about there, who I think makes us a worse team. I don't think he makes a better team. He's an impact player, bring him on. He's no bad. He can score goals. Aye, fine. But he doesn't contribute to the team or make you a better team. Some players, they make you a better team and other players don't. It's as simple as that, mate. You've got Cherny out there. He's dog tired. He's tired. Okay, sit in the bench. Sit in the bench. We'll put Cortez or we'll put Curtis on. We'll change something. We'll do something. Nope. Let's play a man through the middle where his natural position is. We're going to develop. Nope. Not do that either. All right, okay. What are we doing in midfield? What can you do in midfield? You've no midfielders. You've got three midfielders and that's it. You've got Diamondi, you've got Raskin, and you've got Barron, and that's it. So it's just juggle them about to your heart's content, mate, but that's your midfield. So you're allowed to take and go, right?
Would you not play Bailey then? Would you not stick Bailey in then?
Well, put Bailey in if you want. It won't make any difference if you put Bailey in, but put him in if you want. The trouble is he's not going to try anything. Just doesn't want to try anything. He just keeps putting the same players in the same positions, and we keep getting bounced about. We think the comeback against Aberdeen with 10 men, that's about the best thing we've done for months, mate. Months. But I don't know. I can't find out that. I can't think through the rationality or think, well, look, if you're going to get beat, you're going to get beat. If you're going to draw, you're going to draw. And we don't know. What we do know is if any team's up for a fight, we'll know. We know that. That's a fact, especially in Scotland. We get bullied.
Bridgeman, I'm sorry, Bridgeman. I think we're comfortable in the back four. I think for the remainder of the season we stick to the back four, and I think it allows you to sort of play. You can play two wide men in the back four. But as we get up the wings, when sometimes we bring our things, the in and played a box sort of. We played the diamond last week, but I don't know whether it suits us against Aberdeen. I just think we should just play a 4-4-2, to be perfectly honest.
To me, it won't matter what way we play. And yet, I agree with you that we've only got the 4 players that played the last game for us in defence. It's probably the best players that we've got in those positions. But that doesn't mean they're good by any stretch of the imagination. I don't see that defence gives away goals quite a lot, and the opposition get goals out of nothing because of poor defensive positions and so on and so forth. And Albert was right when he started talking about the goalkeeper, and the goalkeeper went on and on and on. We still kept him playing. Young Kelly's come in and he looked good for maybe 4 or 5 games or 3 or 4 games. And then all of a sudden, he took a couple of wee wobbly bits as well, So I don't think we'll get two quality goalkeepers there out of those 2. And that's going to cost you as well, So as far as I'm concerned, Albert said, it sticks in my mind, Albert said, we'll get young boys that are small playing against big guys and they'll bully us. And that's the God's honest truth. That will happen. And I've said this, but 3 years ago on the show, I said we shouldn't be signing anybody under 6'1". 6'1". That's it. Unless they're absolute geniuses with the ball, unless they're absolutely brilliant, that's what we should be playing. Good players, but tall, and don't mean they have to be 6 feet and maybe higher. I would go for higher if I could get it. However, as we're looking for strength, you look at the other teams in the league, they're all putting big fellas in their team, all of them, and the guys run non-stop, and they just bump into Rangers players and bully them off the ball. That's what happens, and it's sad. It's really sad. However, I'm still a Rangers fan, and I think Rangers are going to win these 2 games at Ibrox, but I think it's going to be a battle for them. But I say this in all honesty, I would not be surprised if we don't win them. I wouldn't be surprised.
Football's a simple game, AK. The simple thing is, when a new manager comes in, they'll set out a strategy and it'll be what it'll be, and whatever system it'll be, and you do your recruitment to get the players that fit the system. And that's the way I see it, and it's just about his philosophy, or it comes from the club and Thelwell and saying this is our style of play it's going to be. No, this is a programme that we want to go with, and now we fit a manager to fit that style. Then we get the players to make the model work. So when that manager leaves, the next manager comes in, the model stays the same. Doesn't all get ripped up and changed. It's just you make it better at all times as you're improving the squad, or your manager leaves because somebody comes in to get him. Either or. It shouldn't be somebody comes in, rips everything up, or you have to restart again, because that's all we've been doing for the last 4 or 5 years.
100%, mate. We've spoke about it for long enough. Albert must be banging his head against a brick wall by the points we're making now. Albert was making them 2 or 3 years ago when we could see the decline was happening. These players, for me, they've got away with murder for a long, long time, and we keep pointing fingers at the wrong people in the club. And it seems to be the managers that are losing their job. We've been through CEOs, we've been through chairmen, we're chasing investors out the door, guys who have put tens of millions into the club just to keep us afloat, but even they're getting castigated on forums and podcasts with Rangers supporters. So now they've decided enough's enough and hand the reins over to somebody else. But now even then, Rangers supporters are questioning their credentials. Which school did they go to? What intentions did they come in for the club? If we want our club to get back successfully, winning trophies, we've got to trust these guys and bring in, the manager who they want, the players who they want, and do it on a sensible basis financially. Because financially, decisions we've been mismanaged for a lot of years with putting people in wrong positions bringing in Stuart Robertson, bringing in Ross Wilson to replace Mark Allen, putting James Bisgrove in as CEO when his credentials was commercial, where he was doing fine, replacing Dave King with Douglas Part and then John Bennett. It's been a basket case of club for years that the support have suffered more than anybody, because we continue to follow on, we continue to buy season tickets and managers and merchandise and everything that's going, but we're getting treated shabbily and we've hit rock bottom. Everybody, we need this takeover to happen for the better. But Barry, short term, you're right, Albert. You would think he would be coming in with a breath of fresh air, right? I'm going to get my ideas across. I'm going to change. I'm going to play players that should have been played that weren't getting played under. Come on. That's what we thought we were going to get when bringing in Barry. But he's had 12 games here, 8 weekends. We've dropped 12 points. Come on, dropped 13 points out of 23 games. You know what I mean? So we've not improved. We've got worse. Our goal scoring's got worse. Our defence has got worse. Yep. When you go, Albert, when you go.
I said before we come on, we should have got rid of him. It was mental, absolutely mental. We've not moved an inch forward getting rid of the guy. There was no reason to get rid of him.
But Albert, that was bound to peer pressure off the support, wasn't it?
I mean, that's fair enough. You can see that nobody liked it. I didn't like it. I didn't think he was a brilliant man. I'm not saying that. He's there to do a job. He was there to do a particular job. And he ended up getting sidetracked with all the crap. No chairman, no director of football, no this, no that, no part, no this, no that. You're not getting the January transfer window. Get rid of 12 players, bring the wage bill down. What is nonsense? He didn't sign up for. He never signed up for any of that. He signed up to build a team. That's what he signed up for. And that's what he was trying to do. So we get rid of him. Rightly so, wrongly so. It makes no difference. But the point I was making is, what benefit did they get rid of him? I said it at the time, still say it now. There was no benefit for it, mate. There was just no point. You may as well have carried on the rest of the season. Would you get any better? Would you have gone further in Europe? Who knows? Let's just speculate. Nobody knows. But the point is, where are we now? Now we've got rid of him. Are we any better? No, not a bit. Are we worse off? I don't know. Worse off means we were doubly not going to win the league or something. We weren't going to win the league anyway. The way it was going all season, the way we were performing, the team was performing, the calibre of player we've got. So back to the recruitment. It's all about the recruitment, mate. We need to get it right. We can't keep doing this. We need to get people that turn up for their work. We need to get value for money. This is the problem. You know, the guys that are taken out of the club, now it's been said about them, they're hard-nosed businessmen. They will have their plans, mate. They will have goals that they need to set for each department within the club, each individual within each department of the club. Everybody will have goals to reach and try and maintain and better. And then next year, if they reach them, we reset at a higher level. That's how you get better. At the moment, it's just a free-for-all. You can do what you want at Ibrox. Nobody seems to be held accountable for anything that happens at Ibrox. Nobody. Apart from the manager, that is. As you say, the pickle and people. I mean, I keep saying the medical department and the fitness team, I don't know what they do. I really don't. But that will soon be brought to light, by the way, because this mob will not tolerate any of that. They're in this for money, mate. They're in this to make money. And the way you make money in football is qualify for the right competitions and go as far as you can in the right competitions. That's what you do. So you win your league, you win your own domestic cups, you get your maximum money out your own country. Then you look at the Europe. You say the ultimate competition, you want to win the Champions League, and you want to go as far as you can, because every single game and every single round you go in that, it's millions and millions and millions of pounds. So that's what they're after, mate. It's not rocket science. And on the back of that, you sell strips, you sell space in your ground for advertising. You say all the commercial stuff, mate. It's everything. One thing follows the other. It's just as simple as that. And they'll not tolerate it. And this is what we need, hard-nosed businessmen to have a look at this whole setup, which they've already done. Make your own conclusions with it and just think to yourself, is this, the way it's run now, going to be successful in the future? And the answer is going to be no, isn't it? So there's going to have to be changes everywhere in there. But the one change that they need to make is better recruitment. There is no other way around this, mate. You've got to get better players and you've got to get them turning up to their work. Simple, innit? It just sounds that simple.
Well, I said to you, remember after the game, the cup game at Ibrox against Queen's Park, when we met after the game, and I said to you, didn't I? I said, he can't survive this, right? I said, I know it's not going to make a difference, but he can't survive it. In the eyes of what we watched that day, the result, the magnitude of it, but solely down to players on the park.
I think you're right, mate. I think that's the one that goes.
And you did say to me at the same time, listen, it'll not make a bit of difference. And I said, I know, but it'll just be a cave-in now. That result for Clermont will not matter. He's going to have to go. You know, I said, it doesn't matter what we think. He could go at the end of the season and try and build this team, and whether the players will respond from or no after that was always up for debate. They responded at Hearts, away, Tynecastle, but it wasn't great. And then obviously he gets a bullet. So he was in charge of St Mirren and all, was that? St Mirren after Hearts, was it? St Mirren, aye. After that one, that was him gone. But like you say, apart from the result that Barry's had against them at Parkhead and getting us through against Fenerbahce, which away from him we were really good. Let's not be kidded, it was a great performance. But at home, I thought, AK, that when you send a team out with a mindset, I sit deep and don't really go up the park much, in the hope that you don't lose a goal. And okay, we could have got to half time and you'd say, well, it more or less worked. It was good to win at half time, not in each, but we went to goal down, and I just thought we shouldn't have made it that difficult for ourselves that night. You know, we shouldn't have been relying to get the penalty kicks to get through in Europe, I thought.
No, listen, I thought Barry tried to out Mourinho that night by thinking about it too much and try to play a clever kind of tactical game. Bridgman's already said, what was his pedigree before getting the job, his credentials? Who's the clubs he's been with? Kelty Hearts, Clyde, Alloa, and all of a sudden we think he's the right guy to lead us forward? No.
I think he's in Blackpool and all. I think you get about a Blackpool player manager.
Player manager role, aye. He did, aye. But even at that, that's no Glasgow Rangers. That's no playing in Europe against one of the best managers there's ever been. He tried to be too clever with the team and putting them on shackles. I mean, if you imagine the reaction that Clermont would have got putting out that sort of team with that sort of formation and tactics, he would have got lambasted. But we got away with it. We get through on penalties to carry us on to the next game. But even then, it was, what was it? Well, Celtic was a game after that. Brilliant. We think we're on a goodging. Then we go to Dundee. We can afford doing a wee hole, but we come back. We show the character. And Barry was big on that word. People are questioning the character of this team. Well, there we've answered the questions. For them, we've not won a game. 29th of March, the last time we won a game. That's terrific.
Can I make one point before we finish tonight? The point I want to make is I've been hearing everybody talking for long and weary about next season. Or it's the rest of the clubs in the league we need to beat because we've done well against them. Look, we've took the pints out of it. So that's nonsense, mate. We need to get that out. That's just nonsense. We haven't beat them in a meaningful game in years, mate. Years. Right. So you get focused on this. We haven't beat them in a meaningful game in years. These games that we're beating them mean nothing. Nothing at all. It's nice to beat them, but it doesn't mean anything. We need to focus on this. We need to get better than them, and we need to get better than the rest of the league. But if we're just going to concentrate on beating the rest of the league, we're not going to win the league again. It's the whole lot of them, including them. We need to get both, and we need to beat them in meaningful games. Name this, nearly close, right? Well, we got a draw with them, that's great. Or, we beat them a day. Oh, wait a minute, they won that cup, they won that league, they won that. Get rid of this over here. We need to stop this.
I thought the game at New Year, the game at New Year was meaningful anyway. Although there was a points gap, it was still meaningful.
No, it wasn't.
No, and then getting up there, they obviously thought they would turn us out.
Means nothing.
That's what they would think, because they had a party set out against St Johnstone where they sold 3 stones for them, and they didn't get the party that week. So they wanted to beat us at their ground. Let's not be kidded. You know, they did.
It's a meaningless game for us, mate. Forget about that. What were you saying?
You still got to get it.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
You've still got to hold on. You've still got to get it. You've still got to get the wins right. And at the moment, right, okay, if it'd been a better decision in the cup, we might have had that victory. We might have had a cup in the background. It wasn't your fault, but it wasn't our fault entirely.
Wait a minute. But
apart from that, we've done them twice in the league.
If we think postponing their title party, I mean, it's a meaningful game. That's nonsense, mate. That is just nonsense. They're postponing their title party. It's not meaningful. Meaningful games that we beat them in the league and we get points after them to go ahead of them or go further ahead of them. They're meaningful games, mate. Beat them in a cup final and lifting the cup, that's a meaningful game, mate. Beat them in a league that they've already won, like drawing them in there last week, that's nothing. What does that mean? But we're under the impression, we've took points off them. Yeah, you've took points that's in a dead run, but you've took points in a league that's already finished. You get cheated out of a League Cup, we see that, but you still get beat. We still get beat in the Scottish Cup as well, the same carry on, mate. We need to start beating them in meaningful games. The meaningful game last season was the first Old Firm game at Parkhead when they beat us 3-0. That was a meaningful game. That really was a meaningful game. We got slaughtered. Our goalkeeper practically threw 2 goals in that day. You're going, that's just the games I'm talking about. I don't care about them delaying their celebrations or any of this nonsense. I don't care about any of that. That means nothing to me. I want, if they say it's them chase us, I want us to be in front. I want every game that we play them means something. If they know it means something, we've got them under pressure. At the moment, we've not got them under any pressure whatsoever. They're sitting back. I'll tell you what they're doing right now. They're sitting back waiting to see what we buy, and they're going to try and come out and cover it with money. That's what they're trying. That's what's going to happen. That's what they're trying to go today.
The first meaningful game that you talk about, we weren't really ready for that. Let's be honest. We never had a settled squad or team to go into that game.
We didn't win it.
I know. We didn't win it. I know that. But the next time you get the chance after the first game, unless you get a cup final, is going to be the New Year game. Listen, they were going on about we couldn't touch them for long enough, right? And we've managed to score 3 goals up in it before that game and the other, which was a dead rubbery game. You could tell by the atmosphere, you could tell just by everything in the game. It wasn't nobody flying into tackles, and it wasn't the usual what you'd expect for that type of game, being so late in the season, in the league's hour. I get that, but the New Year game, whether we were points behind or no, it meant everything to the support to make sure that we beat them that day at Ibrox, and that's what I think that's what it means to people as well. And you've got to beat them. We've let ourselves down against all the rest of the teams all throughout this league. That's a fact, AK. But you still want to be able to beat them out of season, which we've done twice now and took a draw. So whether they're out in front with hundreds of points or whatever, it is what it is.
I know what you're saying, mate. Games against Celtic are never meaningless for us, the support. But in reflection, when you see the league in comparison, 17 points behind, we're not going to catch them. That's when it becomes a meaningless game. But it's a league procession now, and it has been for much of the turn of the year. As I said before, Celtic have dropped 16 points since the turn of the year, 2 defeats to us, and we've dropped 19 points to still be 17 points behind them. We've had a weakness in mentality in the squad for years. Big games, you could say we've been unlucky. You could say we're refereed differently. The VAR officials have that. All that is factors. But at the end of the day, we haven't won enough of the big games, and we don't have the character, the team, the amount of winners on the park to get it over the line, to win the games 1-0, a scrappy goal. Go back to the Hampden game where David Robertson gets sent off behind the early minutes. Ali McCoy scores, pouring the rain, Hampden. That's a Rangers team that could get it over the line, and we've missed that for years.
Certainly have, Bridgeman. The fighting qualities in it.
Yeah, I remember that. Not that long ago, when we played Liverpool in the league. It might even be the Champions League, to be honest. Ibrox. If we got the first goal, and they just must have upset them because they came back and battered us 6-1. And I thought then, I don't know what it was I was thinking, but I thought somebody in the management area, that's not good enough. Coaching area, not good enough. Players, not good enough. So in every lane or every line of Rangers, we played one of the best teams that's ever played football, to be perfectly honest, club-wise, in Liverpool. And they absolutely murdered us. And that's what happens to us when we're not at the game, or the players aren't getting ahead in the game, and all the things that matter along the line. We are not a great team. I always say we're a good team, and we'll get a couple of good players. This season we've got a couple of good players. I mean, Raskin's absolutely superb at the moment. But my goodness gracious, Albert said it earlier, they're tall, they're not the greatest, they're not the tallest players, and they're not the best built players. But my goodness, they do play. But come on, as a club, all the things that you said earlier on, it's just not there. And it's not going to be there. We've got 3 games to go. And as I said earlier, I don't see us winning any of them, to be honest. In my mind, my heart says, no, we're not going to do it. And it upsets me when I think like that, very negative. Of course, I want to win. I'm going to go for a 1-0 in every one of the games. But no, we are so bad, it's not real. And it's so disappointing to sit and watch that. And, you watch 3 players going for the one ball, and the ball bounces away from them. What? 3 players going for the one ball, the ball bounces away from them. Where's he go to? One of the opposition, and there's nobody near him. That's what you call chaos football, isn't it? Chaos football. That's all I want to say about that.
We've got a great club and a crap team, mate. That's what we've got. A great
100%.
club and a crap team. And it needs to be sorted.
Great club, great support.
The club, the support are the one and the same to me, mate. Great club, great club, crap team. And that's been like that for years, mate. And we need to sort it. And we need to sort it now. And I think we will sort it.
Do you honestly believe it will happen, Goldberg? Do you think
Definitely.
this move's going to happen?
Definitely, mate. Definitely.
What about you, AK?
100%. 100%. Dave King said, why no? So it's gone through 90% there.
What do you say, Southside?
Deal with deed, mate. It's done.
Okay.
Collapsed.
Cool.
Don't you? He's not going to get sleep at night now.
You've got Bridgman collapsing.
Hey, he's going to be walking out lobby the night. He's going to be worried now.
I bloody will be as well, I'll tell you.
That'll be fine, Bridge. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
Well, let's hope so.
Anyway, we've came to that time of the night. Albert, get your final thoughts and a score prediction for Sunday.
Final thoughts is a lot of work to be done. The rest of these games don't matter to me, mate. Not a jot. But I still want a victory, so I'll take a 2-0 to Rangers.
That's fine. I'll see you on Sunday on the way down to Ibrox then. AK.
Thanks for yourself hosting tonight, Albert, for coming in to join us there. Bridgeman, the techie team, hope everybody enjoyed it. On the Rangers.
Score prediction.
And finally, the Bridgeman.
What can I say? I was wondering what was going on. I'm waiting Ali Kelly come back with I'm waiting AK coming back with a score prediction for the game, but he never did it. What's the matter? Got to put your money where your mouth is, AK.
Rangers 1, Aberdeen 1.
Oh, I thought you were going to say 1-0.
HR, this stay in here tonight. Don't you go anywhere, right? You're just going to stay in for disciplinary, the
I'm waiting on Rangers signing Shinny them or your beauty.
Well, you never know right enough. Okay, so said a brilliant night. Thanks very much for having us on. And AK, thanks for supporting me. And obviously Albert and the techie team. Just wonderful. I thoroughly enjoyed the night. I've been called a few names, I must admit, but I'm still alive. Can I just say to all the Rangers fans that are listening in all over the world, massive game coming up Sunday, biggest game of the season. Everybody, keep it going for the Rangers, and let's do this. 1-0 for me.
1-0, good Bridge. Can I just thank Albert for joining us tonight, and also you two guys, AK and yourself, Bridge. Thanks for helping us out with the show tonight. Thoroughly appreciated for the three of you. Thank all the YouTube troops out there that have listened to the show tonight. Thank yous, and everybody else listening in this evening. Like to thank yous for listening in. Thanks to Old School Blue and Fox as always for doing the technicals, and we'll be back on Sunday, I believe, at 11 o'clock for a 12 o'clock kickoff, and hopefully a Rangers victory. I'll take 2-0, 2 goals for Dessers. So on that note, on you go, Vic, quickly.
Optimistic.
2 goals for CD9.
Southside, you in drugs?
Oh, kidding me on?
He's on something. He's on something. He's snorting
CD9.
coffee, I think.
CD9. 2 goals, right? So thanks for listening, and as always, there's only one team, one crown. Take it away, troops.
Oh!